What's up? So you want to buy a Mark IV Supra? Well, apparently a lot of people do these days because the prices for these cars have been skyrocketing. So if you want to know what it costs to get into a original twin-turbo 6-speed Mark IV Supra in today's market, stay tuned.
God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house.
Alright, so I've never owned a car where the first question a random person will ask you is, how much do you pay for your car? Now, I don't see this going on with other cars, like even like a GTR or a Lamborghini. It doesn't seem like a random person will go up to the owner and ask them how much they pay for it. But for some reason, I think because the pricing for Supras can vary so wildly, people are just curious to see what you actually paid for the car you have. So for the pricing discussion of this video, we're going to assume the US market. So if you're watching this from another country, a lot of this won't apply to you. Alright, so let's go over the cars that are available in the US. So you have the NA cars, which are naturally aspirated, non-turbo cars. You have the auto twin-turbo cars, and then you have the manual 6-speed twin-turbo cars. And then you have a few variations between all those cars. Some people have turbo their NA cars. Some people have taken their auto twin turbo cars and converted those to the OEM 6-speed or done some aftermarket transmission in those cars. But for this video, we're gonna assume we're talking about the most desirable setup, which is the OEM twin turbo 6-speed manual cars. The OEM twin turbo 6-speed cars are the most desirable, so I think that's a good place to focus for looking at the pricing of these cars in the current US market. Alright, this is a great time to do this video because recently there has been two original twin-turbo 6-speed manual Supras that have sold on a popular auction site called bringatrailer.com. So why is that important? Well, since this is an auction site, that gives a clear indication of what the buyer's market is willing to pay for these cars. So these prices aren't some unrealistic price posted by some delusional owner. These are actual selling prices of these cars. Alright, so if we look at these cars, what did they sell for? Okay, so the first car was a red on tan OEM 6-speed Supra with a target top and about 76,000 miles on it. And that car sold for $51,000. So that's a pretty good price for what most people in the supermarket would consider an undesirable color combination. It seems like the red cars, no one wants them, and then you add the tan interior in there too, and it's just not a combination people want. Now the second car was a 1997 deep jewel green car with tan interior and about 58 fucking bugs. Now the second car that sold on that site was a 1997 deep jewel green car with tan interior, and that car had about 58,000 miles on it, so it was fairly low mileage, not super low. But that car also had some interior damage. I think the dash was drilled for some kind of aftermarket gauge cluster. And the dashes for Supras are hard to find, and most of the dealerships won't ship them because they get damaged in shipping. So you have to find an actual dealership that has one in stock, and you'd have to actually show up at the dealership to get it. So the interior damage as well as the color combination, some people don't like the green cars or the green color on the Supras. Some people love them, but again, it's not the most desirable color combination. So with those two together, the car still sold for $58,000. Okay, so what do these recent auctions tell us about the Mark IV Supra pricing market? Well, according to those auctions, it looks like you're gonna have to spend somewhere in the range of $50K to get yourself a clean, well-kept, original twin-turbo 6-speed Supra. And if you're looking for a particular color or interior combination, then look to spend even more. There's known RSP, which is the Royal Sapphire Pearl color offered for Mark IV Supras, which is kind of like a purplish blue, as well as the Quicksilver, which is another rare color offered on the Supras. So cars with those specific exterior colors have been known to sell for north of 100K, which is kind of ridiculous. So most of the cars discussed so far have been stock or near stock examples. Now if you start adding modifications, that can either hurt or help your situation as far as if you're a seller or buyer. It seems to be though, in the Supra world, modifications don't really hurt the value of these cars. I think for the most part people are buying a Supra for the performance aspects of it, so they're not really concerned with a car that has been heavily modified, especially if it has some name brand parts on it, because even cars pushing a lot of power have been known to still be reliable. So I think that still plays a part in people still paying high prices for cars even if they're modified. So is 50K out of the price range you want to spend for an original twin turbo manual Supra? Well, you may be in luck, because in 2018 the right-hand drive JDM Supras will soon be legal for importation into the US. But the question is still up in the air of what the going rate will be for these cars once they become legal for purchase and importation into the US. So they might not be as cheap as you think they're going to be. Alright, so what's your thoughts on the current Supra market? Is 50K too much, too little? Do you think you're getting a good value if you spend 50K on a 20-plus-year-old Japanese car? I think that's the question everybody asks. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on the subject. I figure if you're following my channel, you have some kind of interest in Supras, but it would be great to see what the community thinks of the current Supra prices. I mean, if you're in the market for one, are you looking in this price range, or are you looking at some kind of naturally aspirated converted to turbo or some other configuration of these cars? But I mean, really, as far as resellability, buying an OEM twin turbo 6-speed car is going to be your best bet. All the other ones, the value is going to go up and down, and then once these JDM cars come over, that's going to really hurt the value of a lot of these cars that have been converted, especially if you can buy an original manual twin turbo 6-speed car. Even if it's right-hand drive, people might want to go that way. So if this is the first video you've seen of mine, feel free to browse the other videos on my channel. But I think that's going to be it for this one. I'll catch you on the next one.